Hello. I represent the side that wants FBS college football to have a playoff system.
And I represent the side that thinks the BCS should stay. And all those who oppose the BCS and support playoffs in college football are nothing more than a bunch of whiny pussies.
Wow. What a way to start a discussion. But I guess I should let you go first, since you are so eager to tell me why I'm wrong.
Okay, my question is, why ruin the season? College football's regular season means more than any other. Every game is a playoff.
Really? Is it a playoff for all the non-accused schools who, even if they go undefeated and beat the hell out of everyone they play by at least 50 points, they still get passed up by a one-loss team to go to the title game?
Yes. Every single game is a playoff.
How exactly is it a playoff when people and computers basically vote teams in? That is not a playoff. It's a beauty contest.
Well, if those non-accused schools want to go to the title game, they should grow some balls and join a real conference.
Oh yes. Boise State should just knock on the Pac-10's door and ask them for membership. And all the smaller conference teams should disband and join the SEC, Big 12, Big 10, Big East, and ACC and schedule harder teams.
Exactly. That's what they should all do.
Dude. It doesn't happen that way. Schools just can't go straight to another conference whenever they feel like it. They must be invited to that conference. None of the bigger conferences invited BSU, and the Big East was the only AQ that invited TCU. Also, a lot of bigger schools don't schedule some of the good non-AQ schools. It's tough for them to gain respect when they have little to no chance of gaining it.
Well, that still doesn't take away the fact that a playoff would ruin the regular season.
How in the blue hell does a playoff ruin the regular season?
It would be just like college basketball. No one cares about college hoops until the tournament.
So you are basing your claim that the football season would be ruined because no one cares about basketball? That is dumb as hell.
No, it's not. College basketball is boring and it doesn't get good until the playoffs. That's why it's wrong to have playoffs in college football.
Are you fucking serious? First of all, you saying that no one cares about college basketball during the regular season is an opinion. This isn't Fox News where someone's bullshit opinion means it's an absolute fact. And second, it's basketball. You can't compare football to basketball because football has less games and takes more of a toll on your body. In college basketball, not only do they have to play around 30 games a season, but they also play tournaments before the season starts. They have conference tournaments and the national tournament or NIT. College basketball teams can play up to 40 games a season. They can afford to lose a couple. That wouldn't happen in football.
Yes, it would. Playoffs would kill the regular season.
Look bro, there would be a maximum of 16 teams if there was a playoff in FBS college football. There are over 120 schools, and that number will grow in just a couple years. How much would it kill the season if there were only 16 spots to get to the playoffs? Do you really think that teams would lay down at the end? No game would be a given. Besides, the BCS doesn't guarantee a true number 1 and number 2 every year, obviously.
Oh, you're just mad because your school is just a weakling Mountain West scrub. The Mountain West and all non-accused schools suck balls. None of those teams could compete with the SEC.
Oh good lord, not this shit again. This is yet another problem with the BCS. Instead of it being about wins and loses, it's about who you play and what conference you're in. That's bullshit at its finest. You BCS guys talk about the integrity of the game and how it has to be the best schools in the nation, and then say that certain teams aren't that good because they're in a certain conference. Maybe the WAC doesn't have many world beaters, but when you go undefeated, you should be known as a great team, regardless of what conference you're in. Teams that have a good winning percentage should at least have a shot at playing for the title.
No, they shouldn't. They're not in the SEC. The SEC owns. Because they're not in an SEC school, they aren't worthy of a title.
That's the shit that I'm talking about. You keep saying that they aren't worthy of a shot because they aren't in your conference. That's elitism. It has no place in sports.
Bullshit. If Auburn or Alabama played the same schedule TCU played, They would easily walk through and be undefeated as well.
Don't you think that by going undefeated and beating the dog shit out of these schools, they could be called a good school?
No, because they are not in the SEC. Therefore, they are overrated.
You just said that if those AQ schools had the same schedule as a non-AQ school, they would be undefeated. So by that logic, wouldn't that mean that the undefeated non-AQ school would deserve just as much of a shot as an AQ school?
No, because they are not in a BCS conference.
Odd hell, dude, forget it. Tell me again all the reasons we should not have a playoff in college football.
The BCS proves who is the best in the nation. It proves who the true number 1 and number 2 team is.
For fuck's sake, dude, no it doesn't. The BCS is nothing more than a beauty contest, like I said before. Playing in a national championship game based off of what people's opinions are and what computer data shows is not a true playoff or championship game. It's like American Idol. A bunch of nerds and douchebags vote on who they think is better. It doesn't mean they are right. It just means the winner is the most likable school at that time. There is no real playoff.
I don't understand why you are against this system. It has made college football the greatest sport in the world. Without it, we wouldn't have these conversations. It wouldn't be interesting. The BCS is the best thing to ever happen to college football.
What I don't understand is how you can support a bullshit, corrupt system such as the BCS. It's only a great system to a handful of schools. It's not about competition. It's about money and exposure. That's the fucked up thing about it. It's not about the sport anymore, it's about who looks better and how much the presidents can fill their pockets. The only reason why you don't have a problem with it is because your schools get the golden handle part of the staff, while other schools get the opposite end of that staff shoved up their asses. It's not fair, and you know it. But since it's your schools and conferences that come out on top, it's not a big deal to you.
Well, introducing a playoff in the FBS would destroy the bowls. Why kill tradition?
You know, there is a way to have playoffs and keep the bowls.
No, there isn't.
Yes, there is. Just play the tournament games, which would start like that first week in December. Teams that lose would go to BCS bowls or other bowls, depending on how many seeds there are, after the third round. The final round would obviously be the championship game, while the other 6 or 8 or 14 schools play in other bowl games.
That would take too fucking long and no one wants to travel.
Wow. Too much football. Yeah, that would be a huge problem. A few more weeks of the shortest season in all of sports. Who the fuck would want that? Yeah, you're right. I'm sure no one wants to see their team play just a few more games in order to go to a national title game.
Exactly.
I'm being sarcastic, jackass. I don't see what's wrong with playing 3 or 4 extra games. It would add more money to the sport, since I know that's all these presidents care about. The NFL is the most popular sport in this country, and it didn't become that way because of your bullshit conversations of who's better and which conference is better. It became what it is today by having teams play on the field to determine who's truly better. Playing in a real championship game known as the Super Bowl. Not depending on votes or style points. What the fuck are style points anyway?
Style points are when?
I don't give a shit, dude. It's pointless. I'd rather see a championship game where the best teams actually play against each other and move on round to round instead of having these petty arguments. It's sad, really. I love college football to death, but it's been ruined by greed and excess, just like everything else in this fucking country.
Hey, the BCS is all we have. If you don't like it, then you are not a fan.
No. I am a fan. And the FBS is losing fans because it's not giving the fans what they truly want. The majority of the country wants playoffs. The players want a playoff. Even President Barack fucking Obama said we should have a playoff. Why isn't there one? Because we have a bunch of greedy-ass people in charge of it. This must end now.
Whatever, dude. We see what the BCS has done and it works. Besides, there's not 1 ounce of proof that a playoff tournament would work in college football.
Are you fucking serious? Obviously, you haven't heard of the FCS tournament, the Division II tournament, the Division III tournament. They all seem to work so well. Why not in the FBS?
Because it would ruin the season. The FBS is the best thing going for college football right now. Like it or leave it.
If that's the way you feel, then that's fine. But I and everyone else with the brain sees the BCS for what it is. BS. Seriously, just take out the C and that's what you have. But you can support the stupid system all you want. Let those so-called experts on ESPN tell you what to think. And while you're at it, crawl up Mark May's ass and become a part of him, if you agree with him so much.
You're pathetic. Crying over this will not stop the BCS. Just accept it and move on, you douche.
You know what, you're right. I'm not going to cry over this. Instead, I will go to the BCS headquarters and bomb it. Just completely blow it up, and get rid of this shit once and for all.
You're crazy.
Maybe so, but at least I'm not a sheep who thinks whatever he's told to think. See ya, dumbass.